Welcome to Better Not.
On today's episode, we're talking about airline secrets, we're talking about space pollution, and that musky guy Elon.
Let's go.
Do it.
Welcome to Better Not. I'm Will.
And I'm Zach.
And this is the show where two coworkers bet beers on topics you can easily Google the answer for.
That's right.
But today, we're not going to Google the answer to this one. We're going to call my brother-in-law, Matt Moody, and he's going to give us some insight. So what are we talking about today, Zach?
Today, we're talking about airplane passes.
Okay.
I had told you that we were finishing up Beverly Hills 90210.
Of course.
And on the show, Dylan gives Kelly I'm like trying to figure out the names because I haven't watched it in a few weeks. Anyway, Dylan gives Kelly a wedding gift, and it was because they had talked about traveling the world together, but then they ended up breaking up and she married somebody else, or was going to marry somebody else. He gave her an open-ended flight ticket so she could go, both of them, they could go around the world on their honeymoon and tour the whole world wherever they wanted to go.
Yeah.
And I thought that's awesome. You know, Disneyland does it. Magic Mountain does it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Movie Pass.
Yeah. Gyms,
Mm-hmm.
Movies do it. There's a lot of passes that you can get. And so I thought, oh, well, maybe they do it. I've never heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's how we kind of got onto this topic.
Yeah. So I was thinking that they don't have that. It just seems like they can't offer something like that. That would be crazy. But I know that the employees, they do get like full benefits sometimes. If they're higher up the chain.
It seems crazy, but if you offer it at a high enough price,
okay,
it wouldn't be crazy. You know, if they can figure out the amount that it would, cost to make their money back.
Yeah.
Say somebody flew every other day or something like that, then they could probably charge whatever, $100,000
every other day. That's a lot of flights.
Yeah.
But I guess for business people do that. So, I bet power users like business people would use that.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, some people fly every day.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's call up my brother-in-law, Matt Moody.
All right.
He works for Delta. And let's see what he has to say. And hopefully he can answer a question.
Cool.
Let's do it. All right. We're calling.
Hey, what's up, Will?
Matt, what's up? Welcome to the Better Not podcast.
Hey, Matt.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We've been wanting to get you on for some time.
Yeah, this is exciting. I feel like I've made it now.
Yeah, you have. We've been talking about trying to do some sort of airplane or flight at some point. Yeah. And we finally were talking in our office and we were like, the main bet of this episode is there a flight pass, kind of like the flight benefits you get for working there? Is there like a flight pass you can buy, kind of like Movie Pass, where you get either a certain amount of flights or unlimited flights? Is there anything like that you can buy, or have you heard of that? Anything like that?
So there is, other than like our Sky Miles program, right?
Okay.
Where you get loyalty points for, dollars spent. It used to be on miles flown, but now it's on dollars spent for tickets.
Mm-hmm.
But can you buy a pass that gives you like unlimited travel for a year or something?
Yeah. Or maybe even if it wasn't unlimited, but like a certain amount of tickets per year or something like that.
Something that's just kind of open-ended.
So we sell gift cards. I mean, you could argue that's kind of what a Delta gift card would be, right?
Oh, dude, your mentality about this, like you could argue that a gift card is that pass.
That's the point of the show, right?
That's good. Yeah, it is. Oh, well, then that's in Zach's favor right there. Yeah, gift card.
So the way this came up was I was watching a show and somebody had gifted an unlimited flight pass to somebody for their wedding so they could travel all around the world. And so I thought, well, maybe you can buy something like that, and then you just have to schedule your flight like normally, but you just pay a certain amount and then you can fly however many times you want per year.
So I do actually think that there's, and I'm not sure if like our Platinum card maybe, and I think Southwest actually has a program like this too where they call them companion passes.
Okay.
So, like, if you go buy a ticket, you can bring somebody with you. Essentially, it's kind of like a buy one get one free type
Whoa.
deal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
And
think
so-
Alaska Airlines does that. Or Alaska.
Yeah. I think I know Southwest does, and I think we do at some of our like higher tier loyalty brand cards.
Cool.
That's pretty
So,
neat. All right.
yeah, I mean, I think there's a few different ways you could cut it, but Will, I'm sorry, I'm probably going to have to say you might be wrong on this one.
Yeah, that's dude, you're supposed to help me on these.
Fair enough.
Wow. Okay. Well, cool. Zach, you won this. I owe you a beer.
All right.
Well, before you go, Zach's got some rando questions, and I told him to keep it. I told him to keep it PC on them. So we'll see
Fair enough.
if anything's out of your
I'll do my best.
if anything's out of your scope. Just
Got it.
yeah. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Zach.
feel free to say I'm not at liberty to discuss this or whatever. Okay, so my first question is, as somebody that works for an airline, is there any like kind of like secret tips that you like people might not know when they're flying? Like anything that like
any secret tips?
Secret tips.
yeah.
Man,
Just, I guess a tidbit.
We do our best so that there aren't any secret tips.
Okay.
That's kind of the point, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, in general, right? I mean, tickets are often cheaper in the middle of the week because, that's when demand is the lowest. And
Okay.
so typically to fly, kind of business markets on Monday and Friday are going to be more expensive because that's when most of the business folks are traveling. So,
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
I don't think that's really a secret, but
Yeah.
there you go. That's a tip at least.
Okay, cool.
There's
Well, I appreciate
tip
it.
number one. All right.
Is it true that there's a police officer on every flight?
No, not on every flight.
Okay.
But there are obviously air marshals, and yeah, I think they do it a bit randomly.
Okay.
So obviously you never know, right? But
Yeah.
yeah. So you should always behave on a flight.
Right. Yeah, I try to.
Do you?
Yeah. Oh, is it true that they save extra seats for emergencies?
For like on the airplane, so like we don't fill up every seat.
Right. Yeah.
I would say no, that is not true.
You guys try to max them out for profits, right?
Yeah, we actually, sell a few more seats than the airplane has because we know a certain number of people aren't going to show up, right?
Oh.
And so,
Okay.
generally there are some seats that are empty, and that's when, it's beneficial to be an employee of the airline because then you can go get on those seats. So, it typically, in a normal environment, no, that the airplane is completely full.
Okay, that's good to know. So that being said, if all the seats are filled up because everybody comes and you have too many, what happens to the extra people?
So you may have been at a gate at some point, and the gate agent will start offering vouchers to take a later flight.
Oh,
Right? And they'll say, hey, if somebody's willing to take a flight, an hour from now or 2 hours from now or whenever our next leg is, then they'll offer, going back to gift cards, they'll offer a gift card and say, hey, we'll put you on the next flight and we'll give you a $200 voucher or $100 voucher or whatever.
okay.
For future travel. And they'll incentivize people to take other flights.
Now, is that something that you can bargain with? Like if they're offering 100, 200, can you say, oh, I'll do it for $5?
So I've heard that you can get, there's a cap. I think, wasn't it like a $1,500 cap or something like that?
There are caps on it. But typically, I mean, most folks are willing to wait an hour or two for a couple $100. So we typically don't get into those situations where, nobody takes it, right? And it's first come, first serve. So
Okay.
you're not going to be able to negotiate unless everybody, says I'm not willing to do it, which is rarely the case.
Okay. So if you're in a big crowd, you could just be like, okay, everybody, nobody's going to take it. And we're going to dicker with this guy and see if we can get him to go up a little bit.
I suppose in theory that might work.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you kept it PC there, Zach. He had all sorts of questions about the Mile High Club and stuff like that. So anyways, I appreciate you coming on the show, and you rock. We got to get you on another time. All right, man.
All right, Matt. It was good having you on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys take care.
You too. Well, that was interesting.
That was really interesting. I know we didn't dive too deep into some of the questions you wanted to ask. But,
Yeah, well.
But it was awesome having my brother-in-law on, getting my family involved.
Mm-hmm.
He's a listener.
Yeah.
And I actually think that's we have a lot less listeners. We've gained some listeners, but we've also lost some listeners because COVID, no one's driving to the office anymore.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Had a few people tell me that
Yeah.
they need to catch up because they're not driving anymore.
Yeah. My friend that goes from SLO to Santa Maria, he doesn't listen anymore because he doesn't have that 45-minute drive anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And then I bet my dad hasn't been keeping track. So you guys need to listen.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I've got to have you bring us a beer in.
Okay. Well, let's see what they are.
Let's go to Beer Corner.
All right. What do you have for us? Why don't you tell us a little bit about Franciscana, Willard? Why are you laughing?
Because I don't know anything about it. All right.
So,
inside baseball.
Let me just tell you, I ended up getting this beer, and Will forgot to bring beers today. So
it means I owe you even more beers now.
Yeah, which is fine. Franciscana is one of my favorites because
Tell us about it.
When I was in college, I had a German roommate, Matthias, and he told me that this was one of his local breweries. And so we bought it one time, we tried it, and it's really, really good.
Okay.
It's kind of a wheat beer.
You told me about this one.
Yeah, it's a Hef. I mean, so it is a wheat beer.
Uh-huh.
It's in Munich, and apparently they sponsor one of the Oktoberfests.
Okay.
So when you go, all that they have is Franciscana there.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's Munich. They have a factory in St. Louis.
What?
Yeah, that's what it says right here. It must be imported there, and that St. Louis.
I thought you said San Luis. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me?
No, St. Louis. St. Louis.
Okay.
It's
imported.
It's imported by that company that's
Yeah,
in St. Louis. Okay,
right.
okay, it's imported. Yeah. It says imported on the bottle. What am I doing?
It says from Munich. Since
Munich.
Since 1363. That's how you know it's going to be good.
Yeah, there's a fryer on it. That's how you know it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Okay, now you told me about this one a lot of times. I haven't had it yet.
Well,
so
let's crack.
I don't think I've had it.
Unless I already brought it on the show.
Yeah, no, you haven't brought it on the show. That's for sure. Side note, before we start drinking, do you know about the game of life, Zach?
I'm learning about it.
Every day.
Let me tell you. Okay, I took down our satellite off of our house yesterday because I needed to move it 1 foot over. I know I already told you this, but for the listeners. I needed to move it 1 foot over because I'm building my shed right there, and it was going to be, the shed was going to be hitting it.
The infamous shed that you've mentioned.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've talked about a few times on here.
We're going to show your building process of the whole thing.
Yeah. I haven't done anything since. Well, I painted part of it the other day. Anyway, apparently, if you move a antenna an inch, it throws it off. And so I spent probably about 12 hours yesterday trying to figure out how to realign my satellite.
Yeah.
It is freaking hard. It's really freaking hard.
Yeah.
So there's like different terms like azimuth. Have you ever heard of azimuth?
No.
And then there's the elevation, and then there's the something else, the tilt.
Okay.
And so you have to have all three of those aligned perfectly
to
hit the satellite. Because apparently, I guess what it does is it's shooting something to the satellite and the satellite's shooting it back.
Yeah, like satellite waves.
Yeah, so I figured it was like a phone. You can move your phone anywhere and it's just going to pick it up.
Your phone is radio waves.
Okay.
And that's being relayed through radio towers, cell phone towers.
Yeah.
But no, your phone's not radio waves. It's cell phone waves. Wait. Oh my gosh. These are a bunch of mini bets we're going to have to do.
I have no idea.
But satellite waves. Yeah, we should actually pour these beers. Satellite.
Before you pour the whole thing, swirl the bottom.
Swirl the bottom. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That looks fun.
Yeah, I'm going to let the headset settle a little.
So, yeah, satellite waves. I don't know what those are. We might need to look that up.
Yeah.
Which is fitting for our airplane episode.
Yeah.
Because we should talk about some SpaceX satellites that they've been freaking throwing up there.
Yeah. Speaking of littering.
Yeah. Seriously. There's some.
Did we talk about this? I feel like we talked about this, but I just can't believe that it's legal to just throw whatever you want out in space.
I can't really either. Okay. Well, let's back
There's
up.
got to be some kind of.
Let's back
law.
up. Satellite. We need to look up what satellite waves are.
Okay.
We're going to look that up in this episode. And then talking about satellites, SpaceX is just dropping a bunch of satellites in the atmosphere or in orbit because they're trying to set up internet, like through satellite
Right.
internet.
They're supposed to be sending something up that's going to provide Wi-Fi for the whole Earth.
Yeah. Yes.
Crazy.
Crazy concept, but you're mentioning them sending up a car.
Right.
And shooting that into space,
Yeah.
right?
And it's just supposed to orbit around the sun forever. Like that's literally littering.
Yeah. What is space litter? I mean, it's so massive out there.
Yeah.
And then there's theories about taking our trash on Earth and sending it out into space.
Right. I've heard that too.
Which the energy cost is like too crazy. But.
Yeah, I've heard. I think somebody told me that you could send it to the sun and it would just burn.
Yeah, it would be. Okay, we have a lot to talk about.
Okay,
but
I'm gonna take a sip of this.
Let's do beer corner. Beer corner. Cheers.
Prost.
It has like an ancient kind of like this has been passed down through generations flavor.
When you take a sip of it, it goes, oh.
Yeah. Like Gregorian chant.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it really does taste like I'm in the hills of Germany.
Right? It's light.
Wow.
It's crisp. It's very refreshing.
But it has like a flavor that's not beer.
Right.
Well, I mean, it is beer in this case.
Well, a lot of hefts kind of have like a banana flavor. Bryn thinks it tastes like banana.
There's a hint of that banana clove is what they do, what they call it, and then but there's another like it's kind of like sourdough. When you eat sourdough bread, why does it taste sour? Like no bread tastes sour. These are all like yeasted breads, but sourdough tastes sour. Why? I mean, it's the air the air yeast, right?
Yeah.
I keep playing with this.
I don't know why. Is that what it is?
I don't really know why, but obviously it tastes different. Kind of like rye bread.
Is there a specific kind of yeast that you use in sourdough?
There's no yeast.
Oh, there's no yeast.
It's the air.
Oh, that's right. You told me that.
Yeah. So I've been making that. That's what I'm talking about.
Maybe because our air is sour.
Our air is sour. Maybe. But you know what I mean? That's what this tastes like. It tastes like it has something in it. You know what? I would actually be interested to see if they have like some sort of open air.
Oh yeah, they
sort
might.
of like fermentation process that is specific to the region.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, possibly. I don't know. There was nothing on. I looked on the 6-pack earlier, and there was nothing on there.
Yeah.
Saying anything. Or what? I didn't check the sides. Let me go grab that real quick.
Okay, sure. Okay, so we've got the box in front of us. Let's see if it says anything else.
Okay. So,
Actually, I'll Google some stuff. And
yeah, it says exclusively from Alpine Water.
Okay.
Barley, malt, hops, and hop extract, according to the famous German purity law. Reinheitsgebot. So whatever that means.
Okay.
Yeah, it says accordance with the Bavarian Purity Law of 1516. So I don't know what that is. Maybe we should look it up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's all it says?
Yeah, that's all it says. Bavarian Purity Law. Written by Bavarian noblemen in the year 1516, the law says only water, barley, hops may be used to brew beer. Yeast was added to the list known as the beer purity law of Francis, whatever I said, when scientists discovered the fermentating agent centuries later. I think you're right, because if all they can use is water, barley, and hops, it's got to be an open.
It's gotta be the taste is specific to the region or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's so good.
It is very good.
It really does taste like it. Kind of tastes even smoky, maybe.
Smoky.
Yeah. It just like ponder the complexities of that.
Yeah, I guess it could be smoky.
I guess it could be. Okay, well, we learned a little bit about Franciscana, and we definitely think that that's yummy sweetness from the air over there.
It's definitely some German nectar.
German nectar is my middle name.
I thought that was your stage name.
Oh, well, who knows? Well, we're having a good time. Called my brother-in-law. Mm-hmm. We've got a good beer.
Yeah.
We've got some questions that we want to get to.
Okay.
So they don't have a pass. That's fine. Do they have a pass about space? A pass to go to space? Outer space?
Talking about the Space Force?
Space Force, coast to coast.
I was going to ask him one other thing and I totally forgot.
He actually has a clarification. Can I talk about his clarification real quick?
Sure, yeah.
So he wanted to say, he texted me just now, he wanted to point out to the seat capacity. Right now during COVID, they're doing 60% seat capacity for social distancing.
Ooh, that's going to be awful for the flight companies.
Well, hardly anybody's flying anyways right now. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then ticket prices are starting to go up a little bit.
Are they?
Yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah. And then they were saying they grounded like a ton of planes.
Yeah, I mean, they already grounded all those ones that kept going down.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Now they're grounding half of their other fleet probably.
I think, I don't think actually Delta owned any of those new ones.
No, really? What were they called? They're like
the 7 Max or something like that.
Yeah.
The Boeing 7 Max. Yeah, that company's not doing so hot.
I'm telling you, buy stock in Boeing right now.
No, it's a good time. It's a good time to buy any stock. Yeah. Let me tell you.
Tell me.
Well, it was a good time right when COVID hit because everything dipped down crazy.
Right.
It went back up. It's probably going to dip again. So definitely when it's low, get it. Let's start talking about some of the other things we touched on. You were about to say something.
The elephant in the room is it the prime meridian? No, not the prime meridian. What's the
equator?
No, what's the triangle thing?
Bermuda Triangle.
Bermuda Triangle.
Okay. We didn't ask him about that?
I was going to ask him and I totally forgot.
Okay, so I feel like I don't think everyone in the airline industry knows about that.
How could you not know about it?
Well, I mean, people know about it, but there's no like secrets to like unfold that. He works in the finance department.
There's got to be. Yeah, but they probably have some intel. He might just say he works in the finance department. He's probably one of these. He's probably running the whole show.
I don't know. He's probably like in the bunkers, working on classified things that we don't know anything about. Mm-hmm. Who knows? Speaking of Space Force, though, when I was watching Space Force, the TV show, terrible show, don't watch it. It just wasn't that good.
I know you're super excited about it too.
I was like super excited, super bummed about it. And that just goes like they're putting too much money in these TV shows.
Is that a Netflix show?
It was Netflix.
Okay.
I think they're pumping too much money and too many famous actors.
Okay.
So there's these high like expectations and they're flopping.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, it had a lot of money, but it didn't at first. When it first started, not a lot of money and no name actors except for Sean Bean.
Okay.
And then spoiler, Sean Bean's not there after season 1.
I don't even know who Sean Bean is. So.
Sean Bean. I'm trying to think the other movies.
Is he related to Green?
No.
No.
Wait, who's Sean Green?
Green Bean?
Green Bean? Oh, that's the dumbest joke I've ever heard.
You said his name was Sean Bean, right?
Sean Bean is in Lord of the Rings. Have you seen Lord of the Rings?
No.
Sean Bean is.
I don't watch a lot of movies.
He's a bad guy in a lot of movies, and he dies most of the time.
Okay.
And he may or may not die in Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, there's so many movie cultures. Anyways, it was after he left, it was all like unknown names, pretty much. Okay. Generally.
Anyway, Bermuda Triangle. What's the deal? How come you can't fly through there? What's going on in there?
You changed the subject on me. Don't watch Space Force. I was going to say about Space Force. Space Force, they drive through one of those secret tunnels. Like that, it looks like a mountain and it opens up and then he drives through and it closes.
Is that real? Are there any?
I don't know. Area 51's pretty close.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
I'm surprised these protesters haven't invaded Area 51.
That was one of the funniest things like ever. You remember that?
Yeah,
When they were
yeah.
like we're gonna invade Area 51,
And nobody showed up.
Well, they showed up outside, but they didn't
Did
do
they?
anything. It became like a festival or something like that.
Crazy.
I thought that was probably one of the funniest like internet culture things.
Yeah.
So funny.
It's so weird how like, and these things happen all the time where it's like one thing gets thrown out and you just have this cult following instantly.
Yeah. It's because it's that funny. Like I feel that way. Like, I don't know, if I was a little more crazy and maybe had a little more time on my hands, which
Yeah.
is
You'd show up to Area 51 and
probably
invade
would
it?
I probably would have. I probably wouldn't have invaded, but like showing up would have been cool.
Okay.
Okay. We can talk about what you want to talk about. Bermuda Triangle.
Bermuda Triangle, but while we're on Area 51, do you believe in aliens?
Yeah, 100%.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Like
Okay.
you can take it two ways too. You can even argue a Christianity aspect
That's
of
what
it too.
was going to be my next question.
Yeah. So like the first and like non like religious thing is like there's a bajillion planets out there.
Mm-hmm.
How are we the only ones out here? And then there's probably a bajillion that support life, and they have found many that do through telescopes and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But then from a Christian standpoint, I don't know what God did after us or before us. You know what I mean?
After us, he rested.
Yeah, but
So you do know.
I don't know. Like he created.
I think he's just been resting this whole time.
He created the heavens and the earth. It does not specify anything about other planets and not Earth. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So why not create other planets? I don't know.
Yeah.
He's got all the time in the world.
Okay, so if there are
outside of
aliens,
time.
if there are aliens out there,
Uh-huh.
did they have their own Jesus that went to the earth and died?
I don't know. It's kind of like we live now. We live here in this moment. And time is relative based on the earth and our perception of life.
Right.
So one of the big things about like Christianity and Christianity's God. I mean, we both believe this, but
Right.
I'm going to speak as a like kind of like just generalities right now. Is that the Christian God is outside of time,
Right.
and so that concept is like really hard to grasp.
Right.
So it's hard to explain to a non-Christian. It's hard for Christians to understand that too.
Mm-hmm.
And that outside of time means that he knows what's forward, knows what's backwards, but it's not necessarily linear.
Right.
It's he's existing at all times and at no times.
Well, it's a line, and the line has no ends to it. So there's no
But that's the linear thought process that we have.
kind of.
Yeah.
So yeah. So when we think of it, we think of and there's terms for it, and I can't remember the terms. There's this.
Zach drew a line on a sheet of paper.
Let me pull it up. So we have, and I'll show it right here. Maybe you can
Just
take a
send the picture to
screenshot
me because it
too.
might not focus on it.
Okay, so you have a line.
Okay.
That's infinity,
Yeah. So
you
it's a
have
line with
a
arrows
ray.
on it.
which is like how
A single point that goes forward.
that goes forever,
Yeah.
and then you have a segment, and
Like
then
from
these other ones don't.
1990 to 2020.
And so God's time is the line. Our time is the ray from the point that we were born to,
Yeah.
well, I guess it would be more of a segment to when we die.
Probably one of the segments.
But yeah, that's how I always thought of it.
I mean, I think that's appropriate, but I think there's a little bit more to it too.
Sure. I mean, I personally,
what was the thing?
I think that time is a measuring tool that we've created. I don't even know if time's really,
Exactly.
if there is such thing as time.
Exactly. It is a measuring tool that we've created. Yeah, time is relative.
Right.
Meaning that when the Earth rotates, if it rotates, we'll have a flat Earth episode pretty soon.
Yeah.
What does it do if it doesn't rotate?
It just sits there.
And the sun goes around it, right?
Yeah. See, if the world was rotating, we would just be constantly feeling wind.
Okay.
I'm just kidding, but I'm sure that that's probably one of the theories, right?
I just can't believe that's a real thing. We'll talk to somebody about that. We have an episode coming up that's going to be all about your flat Earth questions.
Yes.
So write in if you have any flat Earth questions. We will talk about it on that episode.
Yep.
And we'll have a special guest star that knows all about flat Earth.
Yep.
I just don't, gosh, there was this really good thing and I can't remember what it was. But yeah, the concept of outside of time is kind of like unfathomable. You know?
Yeah. Well, it's pretty easy to picture because
I'd say it's unfathomable. You're like, it's pretty easy to picture.
Well, I mean, think about it. When you're doing something that you don't want to do, it takes forever. Mm-hmm. It's the longest thing in the world. Mm-hmm. You're doing something that you really enjoy, flies by just like that.
Yeah.
And that's just a prime example of how time is kind of like something that we...
it's in your mind.
Yeah. Like when you sleep, instantly you've lost 12 hours or 8 hours, 12 hours, I wish, 8 hours or however many.
Yeah.
But then you're doing, I don't know. It's just, it's all, it's your mind, just interpretation of what it is.
And our mind is on these like circadian rhythms too, where it needs to sleep.
Circadian.
Circadian? Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever heard that.
That's the natural rhythms that you have like in your sleep cycle and like your times to wake up and sleep, your time to like feel certain things throughout the day. Mm-hmm. That's your rhythm, like how things are rolling with you.
Okay.
Because we need to sleep and our body knows that.
Right.
And we have like routines built into our minds.
Yeah. Anyway, Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, shoot. We're trying to talk about that. I'm going to write that down, but Bermuda, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
What were you going to say?
Did you watch the space shuttle launch with the first Americans in space in a long time?
No. My dad had called me and said,
like
turn on the TV. Yeah. It's on. And I couldn't find it. So, yeah.
They were live streaming it.
Oh, really?
You could watch it on YouTube. I watched it.
Oh, cool.
And it was amazing.
Now, was this the Space Force?
No.
So
I know it was NASA.
I know they've created the Space Force. It's a thing now, right? It's a branch of the military.
Yeah.
The first branch that they've created in like 100 years or something like that.
Yeah. They haven't really done much yet.
Okay. So are they just, are they in the recruiting process? Is that okay?
Yeah. They haven't done much yet, but a lot of what they're going to do, and to be honest, it actually is kind of a viable need.
Yeah.
Because when we're going to talk about in a second is all these satellites up there, to attack another satellite is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I never would have thought about that.
Well, I mean, that's the biggest thing. Like some people are like missiles in space, right? Mm-hmm. That's like when the first thing you think about when you're thinking about military in space is like, how can I put something up there to shoot down on Earth?
Yeah.
But the real reason, or I think one of the big reasons is going to be more so like satellite protection and fixing.
Okay.
So like it would be easy for Russia or any other country and their space programs, like picture India, China, Russia, and a couple of the Middle Eastern countries. I'm pretty sure UAE, United Arab Emirates, just launched a rocket. So like a lot of countries are coming online with space flight and satellites and whatnot. So the moment that another satellite is made that actually has like militaristic capabilities, it's not going to be to launch rockets at the Earth. It's going to be to attack other satellites. I mean, that's really the first and foremost like issue.
It's very interesting to me. Like,
it is crazy.
If I was young and like in high school or something, I think I'd probably be very interested in
me too
looking into that.
Same. Yeah. And actually, I was talking to Savannah about this the other day that like I was really big into drones. I still am.
Yeah.
You know, I love drones but I didn't get into it until after I had my degree. Right.
Right.
So if I was into drones in high school, and then decided that I wanted to take that, I could have easily joined the Space Force.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure
join the Air Force.
That's probably one of their main tools.
Yeah. So it's going to be unmanned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Aerial stuff. And then probably a get to man stuff. But yeah, well, I mean, that leads me to like, okay, so SpaceX is Elon Musk's Tesla.
Yeah.
His company. So he is a subcontractor essentially for NASA.
How would you like having that last name, Musk?
I wouldn't like that.
It's a little musk in the air.
Do you think that that's why he stepped up and like became so like diehard hardcore worker to like he's not like to overcome his last name?
Yeah.
you know when you have like a really bad last name, you're like, I'm better than this, and you work really hard at like being really good.
Yeah. Embrace it.
Yeah, he probably did.
Yeah.
okay, so yeah, 2 Americans. They went to the International Space Station. The launch was super successful. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And amazing video. They live streamed the whole thing.
Cool.
It was really cool. But then, so what they're doing now is they're launching. And so this goes on to your topic of like launching the car into space.
Right.
So they're actually, people are thinking that this is litter, that they're launching.
So I'm not the only one that has thought that.
Well, not about the car. No one
Okay.
really thought about that about the car.
Okay.
But valid point. But now people are complaining about the amount of satellites he's putting into space.
Oh, really?
Because I was reading, I want to get the number right here. I think it's 4,000. He needs to put 4, or maybe it was 1,500. How many satellites?
And it's not just that car. It blows my mind what he can get away with. And I don't know if it's that he's going through a process of getting this approved or if he's just doing it. But he's tunneling under Las Vegas.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. There's multiple things.
How is
going
that
on.
legal whatsoever? Like, he doesn't own that property.
I was reading that's legal. Like he didn't need any like special permits. Or
Blows
anything
my
like that for-
freaking mind.
Yeah. So and yeah, they did the test one. They just finished that the first one.
Right.
And that was supposed to be a test, and it worked out. I love the name of the Boring Company.
Yeah, I know.
So funny. But yeah, they're gonna build that giant one. Is it Vegas to LA? What is it?
I don't know. Honestly.
It's not to LA. That's really.
I don't
far.
think it's LA. I think it's just like from.
Just in Vegas somewhere.
I think it's just Vegas from like one point to the other point
Yeah.
of Vegas.
So okay, I think that's yeah.
It's just. I think it's just to get traffic off the street, basically.
I think the thing, yeah, he just does so many like crazy things,
Yeah.
but it's awesome though because it's out of the normal.
I mean, it's cool, but it's like, he thinks he can do whatever he wants. It's pretty obvious because he just does it.
Well,
Like,
ultimately,
I mean, maybe he doesn't. He just knows that he can do whatever he wants.
but isn't that what
He's making a freaking armored vehicle. He's going to sell an armored vehicle.
But isn't that what all these politicians do? These rich politicians, they do whatever they want.
They don't build armored vehicles and dig under
They
people's
own
property.
They own armored vehicles.
You know who digs under people's property?
and they pay all the
the
legislators.
freaking El Chapo. That's who goes under people's property. That's the kind of person this guy is. He's just like El Chapo. He's
not
basically a
following drugs.
legal drug lord.
The United States government is paying him. The contracts with NASA, he's getting paid for
Well,
that.
I'm sure, but I don't know.
So, okay.
When does it stop? You know what I mean? Like who's going to step up and be like, okay, you need to just stop doing whatever you want.
Say the same thing about the people funneling bajillions of dollars into legislation that seems like it's normal everyday stuff, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean, drain the swamp.
The government's coming for us, man. Okay. So I thought this was really interesting. I was reading about this the other day. Starlink is the name of the internet company. That's SpaceX.
Okay.
That's launching. So they need 400 satellites to have a minimal internet coverage.
Okay.
But I was reading that they're trying to get way more than that. They're trying to get 12,000.
Oh my gosh.
So,
And these are all separate satellites?
separate individual mass-produced satellites.
Wow.
Now, this is really interesting because amateur and even professional astronomers looking at the sky and all that, they've actually started complaining because now there's so much stuff in the atmosphere when they launch these satellites that they can't see.
Oh, really? They can't see past them.
The first batch they launched were super reflective. And so when they launched them, it was lights in the sky. And you
Okay.
could see this like line.
I
of
remember
lights.
that.
Yeah, you remember that headline?
Yeah, I do.
But just imagine I think he has less than 1,000 in the sky right now. Imagine 12,000.
Now, how long do these satellites last for? Do they last forever? Or are they?
That's a good question. I don't think they last forever, but they last a long time.
And then what happens to them when they're done? Like you go up there and
Well,
bring
that's
them
another
back,
thing.
or-
That's another thing that might become either the Space Forces or SpaceX's, or somebody's job in the future becomes like the satellite internet guy.
the
Up
the
in
garbage
space.
man.
Yeah,
The
basically.
SpaceX garbage man.
Yeah. Those satellites would burn up in the atmosphere, though.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, I think that's pretty crazy about SpaceX.
Yeah.
and then the car thing. That's just like ego, right?
It is. That's literally all it is look at me. That's the only reason you would do that. And when he explained it, he's like, because I could. It's just like, I don't know if I really like that guy or if I just like despise him.
I have mixed feelings because I think we need crazy ideas like he has.
Yeah.
I think we need them.
Yeah. I mean, it advances technology.
Like Tesla, is a really cool company. These new cars are pretty cool. Like the battery life. And then
we'll see 20 years from now how cool they are. I don't know how the quality actually is in these cars because they're relatively new.
Well, and then one of the problems is the repairability.
Right.
They built the infrastructure for charging. They built the infrastructure for constructing the vehicles, but there's no infrastructure for readily available parts for self-repair or...
Who works on these?
There's very few.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's really hard. I've been reading a lot of articles about them. Yeah, it's hard. Oh gosh, I could talk about this stuff all day. I love technology stuff. It's cool. But anyways, okay. So satellites, we talked about that. We talked about SpaceX, Bermuda Triangle.
Yes.
Let's get back towards more airplane stuff. We could talk about this. This could be its own episode.
Yeah. Oh, maybe it should. You want to save it?
What would be the bet?
How many planes have gone missing?
Ooh. Okay. Yeah. This episode's going long. Why don't we do our next episode on the Bermuda Triangle?
Okay.
Well, we talked about airplanes. We talked about space. Next time on the Better Not podcast, we're going to talk about Bermuda Triangle. Okay, so what do we want to know? What is like Die Hard?
I want to know the main theory. What's the main theory of the Bermuda Triangle?
The main theory, I can tell you that right now.
Things disappear, but what is the main theory of why?
Okay. Well, I mean, there's not going to be a set for sure answer on that.
Okay.
Is there?
I don't know.
I don't think we could bet and find the for sure answer of why.
Okay. Well, we can bet on how many planes have gone missing.
Okay, let's do a number. But I think there are because I remember watching a documentary on this. The Y is like bubbles or something. We can talk about it.
Bubbles. Okay. All right.
That's why it's going to be its own episode because there's a lot of interesting things about it.
Yeah.
So you want to know why?
Mm-hmm.
You want to know how many planes? How many planes or how many just occurrences? Because there's been boats too. Boats,
really?
Boats going missing.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we could do everything.
Okay, so how many people or incidents?
Incidents.
Okay, how many incidents? I'm going to go 700.
I was thinking I'll go over 700. So you can go 700 and under.
Okay. So Will, 7.
Because I was thinking more like 1,000.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's going to be a good episode.
Cool.
I'm actually super curious. There's a lot more I would like to know.
Yeah.
I know a little bit. Actually, it would be really cool to dive into some of the stories.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's going to be next time on Better Not. I feel like, did we cover everything we wanted to talk about with planes? I think we did. I think so, yeah. We'll probably come back and do another episode with Matt, my brother-in-law, in the future. I really thank you so much for being on the podcast today, Matt. And yeah, it's awesome that he keeps listening, keeps supporting me, supporting us. Yeah. And yeah, so thank you so much for listening. Go join our Patreon. Yeah, go find us on Instagram, Facebook, all the places. Say any bets you want us to do. And any comments on there. We're on YouTube, obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're not watching this on the YouTube, head over there, subscribe, like our video for this specific episode, comment anything you have on there, and I'll get back to you because I'm ready to answer your questions. Yeah, saying thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace. The Better Not Podcast is Will Cobb and Zach Freeman, produced by Cobblestone Productions. All the music you hear in the show is written by Will Cobb and mixed by Chad Mcilvenna. Thank you so much to Savannah, my wife, for singing on all the tracks that you hear. We post our episodes now on YouTube. Go head over there and subscribe to us and like our video. And don't forget to sign up for patreon.com/betternot and support us for $5 a month. It goes a long way for helping us out. Thank you so much for listening, and see you on the next one.